Hi, this is a resource for people, and it has to do with managing digital communications. As a neurodivergent person, sometimes I find managing all the digital communications that can come at us in so many different ways and angles a little overwhelming. You have texting, you have work chat like Google Spaces or Slack, you have email, and here we are in Gmail. You have texting, which can be on your phone. You might have WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, TikTok, Discord. There's so many channels, and for me, I find staying on top of them in terms of organization is kind of key to avoiding overwhelm. This is my Gmail inbox for work. And one thing that I'm going to sort of walk through in this tutorial is all that visual tagging. And what I mean by visual tagging is this stuff here. So we're going to just make sure the mouse effect is on. But you see here these filters and tagging. This helps me quickly visually without just getting lost in a sea of text. What it is that I'm looking at, and it lets me make really quick decisions. So I'm going to go over some of the visual elements and settings here in Gmail that I think a lot of people overlook, which I think can make a lot of people's lives a little bit easier. So first, we're going to come up here to the gear. If you're a Google user and you don't always look at the gear or the three dots, then that's going to be your first hint on all those things. In any case, I want to sort of take a look at density. If you leave it on default, what Gmail does is look at your screen size and then make a decision for you. This is compact, or this is the comfortable setting, and you see this is squeezed together for me. I know a lot of people who really like the comfortable setting or even the compact setting. The compact setting, I can tell you right now, this is giving me anxiety just looking at it. I know people who prefer this. I'm 90% certain they are neurotypical. This is all too close together for me. And it just kind of makes it visually blend together. Additionally, I think if I had, these are already trifocals. I think if I didn't have a big monitor, like if I were on my laptop and I didn't have, if I had some visual impairment, I think this could be overwhelming. The thing that is saving me right now, even with this restricted space, are these filters, these little bricks of color and labels. You see some of them have emojis, and that's what we're going to use. I switched to default density because it spreads things out. It makes things a little easier for me to read, and I don't feel so overwhelmed. There's something else here where it says inbox type. The default is customized. I like it because it sorts these tabs, and the promotions all go, and these are almost always vendors. The updates are things like share notifications or my dozen weekly Seesaw emails as a Seesaw administrator, and then my Google Groups email, and you can see that the tagging still applies. These are all technically still your inbox, but the primary is stuff that you can filter into your primary, but also is stuff Google knows it's addressed to you, it's directly to you. So I would say, for starters, you can customize your Gmail however you want, but this is a good thing to note, just visually how you prefer that. And a lot of people don't know that's there. They just sort of are sort of beholden to the original settings, which you don't need to be. The next thing is how these are all unread emails, and you can tell because they're bold. This right here is an email that I've already read. This is an unread email. You can tell because the text is bold in it. But how did I get these things already labeled, already tagged as they come in? Well, that's through the use of labels, which you can see here on the left. These are all the labels I have. Do you use all those labels? Yes, I do. People sometimes call them filters, or not filters, folders, and they function similarly, except for that the advantage of a label over a folder is that mail can live in more than one label at the same time, and that's what I do here. So for example, this is from my boss, Monica Anzo. It was sent to principals. That's the principals tag. It's from her hashtag. Her tag is the money tag, and then it was also must have been sent to directors and program managers because that's what this tag means. So you have to have labels before you can start filtering, or you can build the labels on the fly. But here's what we're going to do. Let's say I want to label things into an OBI label. So I'm going to build the OBI label. And for me, what I really do like is I like emojis in my labels because I'm that sort of a visual person. And again, it's the text overwhelm and graphics and symbols really sort of help clue in visual things. So I'm on a Mac, and there are two key commands. If you're on a newer keyboard, you'll see a little globe keyboard or a little globe button, and that will bring up the emoji menu. Or if you're on an older Mac, you can hit Control, Command, and Spacebar, and it will bring the menu up. Now, because of screen recording, I'm not sure, screencastify, I'm not sure if you can actually see that, but I'm going to pick the siren and the disco ball to go there. And I happen to be doing that because I know that I don't have that particular emoji combination anywhere else. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this label. And you can see it will go down in alphabetical order. So when we go down here to OBI, we see the label. Now you'll see up here, I use a couple of other tricks to move labels to the top that I want, namely using punctuation. For example, the remote instruction and COVID label is still at the top of the list because it has an exclamation point. Things to or from teachers, exclamation point. Principals have that. The @ symbol. Sometimes if you put an emoji at the start, it will float it to the top. Okay, so now that I have a label set, so anything that comes from Foothill College, let's say I want to do that. So I can do that a couple of ways. I can either select that and then go into the three dots and click filter these messages. That is a perfectly legitimate way to do that. I tend to do it with an email already open. So again, we're looking for the three dots up here, filter messages like this, or over here, filter messages like this. They all pretty much do the same thing. So here's where filtering gets really fun in Gmail because it's very flexible and very powerful. So from is a great way to select anything from notifications at instructure.com. If I wanted to say anything that was to, I could say it was to a group email or to me or something like that. I would delete out the from and to. Anything that has the subject in the subject line has a certain word, I can do all that. And again, here you can don't include chats. If it has an attachment, you can work these things all sorts of different ways. But this is actually what I want in the from line. So I'm going to create a filter. Now I have a lot of options here, but what I want to do is apply the label. So I'm going to check apply the label, and then you see I have a drop down here, and I'm going to scroll and see, because I have the siren and the disco ball, super easy to find. I could do a couple of other things here. I could have them all starred, which is, put the little star in the label. I could always mark it as important. Let's say you get something that's always to a group email, like district-wide announcements or something like that. You can say, like, instead of always mark it important, as never mark it important, or skip the inbox. It goes, and you can apply these in combination. So for example, if I selected skip the inbox and apply the label, instead of going to my inbox, it would move it right to this label, and then I could go check that label. If you look here to the sides where you see the numbers next to the filters, that means those have a lot of unread. That's how many unread emails are in that label. But I don't want it to skip the inbox. Now, if I just hit create filter now, it's only going to do new ones that are incoming and the one that I selected. Here's the magic box right here. Apply to 22 matching conversations. Gmail likes to call email threads a conversation. So once I do that, it will automatically put them into this OBI filter that I'm created. So because it's gonna still come into my inbox, well, what good is that? Well, now my infrastructure notifications, which you can see I've already filtered to apply two tags, but I've been meaning to do this for a while to apply specifically an OBI tag, and then I'll show you what the advantage of that is once we're done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create filter, and when we go back to our inbox, we might need a little bit of a refresh or time to go, but let's go ahead and go back to the inbox. So now coming here to Foothill, we see it has these two tags and then this one that I put here. So here's some of my favorite things about this. Is once I'm done reading it, if I weren't already applying the label, I would have to come in here and click and apply the label. Or if I wanted to move it into that label out of the inbox, I would have to come in here and scroll down to OBI or wherever it is that I wanted to put it and put it. But you'll notice that it has these labels across the top. OBI, Collaboration in My Professional Development, ALSOL Virtual Academy, or AVA as we call it. So now when I'm done, oh, look at all these notifications I got. That's great. When I'm done reading it, I just click it out of the inbox. I just take that label off, and I'm ready to click to the next older or newer one. I'm not going to read my email here on screen, so I'll just move it out of there. And I think it makes things much easier visually for me. I think that's has to do with my ADHD. I think it has to do with a couple of visual things. I think this, in addition to being an efficiency boost, also just makes things a little bit easier for people with visual things. But then also the cool thing is now if I go into, when I click here into the OBI label, you see it shows the other labels. OBI won't show here because I'm in that label right now, right? But I can see all of those things. On the other hand, if I come up here to Collab in my PD, then when I look at these, I can see which one of these have to do with OBI and which just don't have necessarily. Some of these don't have tags. Some of these have totally other tags, like this one has the CALSA directors and program managers and special education tag on it, right? So yeah, that's filtering and tagging in Gmail. I don't think it's just an efficiency productivity thing. I think if you get creative, that OBI, if I look at the, I don't think there's really like a predominant course in the color, but if you are a color person, and I am, you can change the label color. I think I'll change that one to blue. Oh, that's pretty. The siren red and the blue is giving kind of police vibes, so I'm going to change that. Maybe like a lighter blue. There we go. Oh, the disco ball disappears. See, this is where the ADHD works against me, right? Because now I have to pick a color. That's not too, like, this is how sometimes you find these like great ideas and then it gets in your head. What about orange? How do I feel about it? Oh, it stands out super nice in the orange. The red a little bit, but I like it. I'm a fan. In any case, you just watch me real time do a thing that I think helps me stay productive and not get overwhelmed in my visually or in terms of prioritizing my emails. And I think that this is a useful resource for all people, but it does create these sort of visual cues as well as organization cues to help sort of manage anxiety, attention deficit, and other neurodivergency issues that some people might have. So I hope that is useful to you, and I hope that you feel like you can use that with yourself and maybe your coworkers and your learners. Thank you.